you can supply the power up to a 500 milliamps. Okay, up to a 500 milliamps at 5 volts. Okay, and then there is a different ratings are there. Okay, the presently USB have different data rates. It may be suppose the for low speed there is a 1.5 Mbps. We are using the USB 1.0. For full speed up to 12 Mbps. Again we are using the USB will be a 1.4. Means 1.0 or 1.0. Similarly, USB 2.0, the maximum speed will be a 480 megabytes per second, and then USB 3.0, the maximum speed will be a 5 gigabytes, and also super speed will be there for USB 3.1, will be a 10 gigabytes, and then USB 3.2, these are 20 gigabytes. Okay, say in advanced nowadays, fifth generation laptop are coming. Okay, in that fifth generations, we can easily see, can easily visible that one. There's a two USB port will be there. The maximum speed capacity of the USB port will be 5 gigabytes. Okay, it means there is a USB 3.0, and some other supercomputers are used 3.1 version of USB port and 3.2 version of the USB port. The maximum speed will be a 20 gigabytes per second. Again, after that, there is a one more external interfaces will be there through wire connections. There is a IEEE 1394. Okay, see these are IEEE 1394. You can see these ports are this kind of 4-pin or 6-pin or 9-pin connectors are available in your laptop. Okay, once you see that in your laptop, these kind of connectors are there. Okay, coming to the pin configuration of IEEE 1394. Okay, there is a power supply connection pin will be for 6 and 9 pin will be 1 and 8. Okay, we'll get the unregulated. Okay, unregulated means they will get the constant supply voltage for that particular wire. You should give the constant supply voltage till up to 24 to 30 volts. And then the pin number 2 and 6, 2 from 6-pin contactor and 8 for 9-pin contactors. There's a you can use for the ground connection. Again, similarly, TPB and TBB plus for 4-pin will be 1, 2. The 6-pin will be 2, 3. Again, 9-pin connector will be 1.3. Means there is a differential signal for line B, and then differential signal for signal line B. There's a polarity, positive and negative. Again, the TPA and TPA plus. Okay, there's a differential signal line from signal A and B. There's a polarity of A and B. And then again in the TPS and TPB of S. Okay, in the pin 4 is not available that particular pin. In pin 6 also is not available on the particular pin. In pin 9 configuration, in pin 9 connectors, 5 and 9 will be there. Okay, there is a shield for the differential signal A, normally grounded, and then there's a shield means protection of this signal line B, normally grounded, and hence is not nothing but a no connections. Okay, there's a dummy connection. Okay, that will be present in the pin number. There's a 9-pin connectors. Okay, we go one by one. See, there are different types of data transmission line will be there in the A and B per connectors. Okay, there's a A and B. Okay, there are two different data transfer line will be there in the per connectors. In 1394 cable, normally the differential lines of A are connected to B. Okay, there's a TPA plus 2, TPB plus, and TPA minus 2, and TPB minus, and otherwise vice versa. And this kind of wire, okay, this kind of wire cabling system is the they can use for the normally they can use for the interfaces for connecting the embedded devices. Okay, like the digital camera, okay, scanner, desktop computer, data transfer and storage, camcorder. Okay, you can see observe through that only you can make the connection for this kind of systems. Okay, then IEEE 1394 does not require a host communication between the device. Okay, here there is no host communication. For example, you can directly contact a scanner with a printer for printing. Okay, the data rate supported by the 1394 is far higher than the supported by USB 2.0. Okay, what is the speed of the 2.0? Maximum speed will be a USB 2.0 will be 480 megabits per second, correct na? 480 megabits per second. It is faster. It is for higher. Okay, this IEEE 1394 is the higher in this USB 2.0 interfaces. And then 1394 hardware implementation is much costlier than USB implementation. It will be costliest compared to the USB ports. Then next is the one of the important communication. There is a wireless communication that are using the air. There is a infrared. Okay, infrared. Okay, there is a IRDA that will be represented by IRDA. It is a serial. Half duplex means only one directional line of sight based wireless technologies. Okay, infrared means it is a wireless based technology. There is no connection. There is no wire connection for this IR. Okay, some other example will be the wireless communication will be a Bluetooth, Zigbee, LoRa, Wi-Fi. These are the wireless communication technology they can use for the transmitting for data communication between the devices. Okay, there's a infrared that is also a there's serial bus communications. It is optoflexed. Okay, and it is the use from the olden days of data communications, and you may be very familiar with it. Example, remote control, IR infrared rays. Okay, if you go for remote control of TV, VCD player, etc., it works on IR. There's the infrared rays. Okay, but what is the disadvantage? IR will be a very small distance. Actually, the range will be from 10 centimeter to 1 meters. Okay, now it is a IR will be there. There is a three-dimensional IR remote sensors are there. That will be more than 1 to 10 meters distance. The range distance will be there. Okay. Again, the infrared communication technique use infrared waves of electromagnetic spectrum for transmitting the data, and it supports the point-to-point and point-to-multi communication, provide all the devices involved the communication are within the line of sight. Okay. And typically in earlier is what happened, the range of this IR rays will be 10 centimeter, 1 meter. Now it is will be increased. Okay, if you go for your TV remotes, it will be 10 meter also. The range will be goes and increases to 10 meter also. See how to increasing this the range of this infrared that based on your transmitting power. Okay, the ranges can be increased by increasing the transmitting power of the IR devices. If you go more transmitting power for the IR, the range also will be increases. Again, the IR infrared supporting data rates ranging from 9,600 bits per second to 16 Mbps. Depending upon the speed of the data transmission, IR is classification. There is a serial, IR, medium, fast, very fast, and ultra IR. These are the classification. How to do this classification means based on your data transmissions. Okay, for serial, it may be a 1.1.2 kilobytes, and medium the maximum will be 1.152 Mbps, and fast will be a maximum will be a 4 megabyte per second, and very fast will be a 16 megabytes per second. Ultra fast will be a 100 megabits per second. Okay, see now in Redmi, you go the MI3 phones, this IRA infrared rays communications will be there. There's a infrared rays are there. Okay, okay, by using the same mobile phones, we can operate as a remote also by using we can downloading the suitable remote application. You can, because IR infrared ray will be there in the inbuilt will be there for MI phones. We can, once we check it here, check it in your phone. If you have any MI phone, there is a IR rays will be there. Means by using the mobile also, you can controlling your set-top box or TV or some other things, AC or okay. See IRDA. Okay, infrared communication involves the transmitter unit for transmitting the data over IR and receiver for receiving the data. And then this is the infrared light emitting LEDs. Okay, is the source of this rays for transmitting and receiving the end of the photo data as the receiver. And then both transmitter and receiver units will be present in each device supporting the IRDA infrared communication for bidirectional data transmitting is known as a transceiver. And then certain devices like TV remote control always require a unidirectional communication, and so they are not contain their transmitter or receiver unit. Okay, unidirectional. The remote control unit contains the transmitter unit, and TV contains the receiving units. Okay, there's a bidirectional. Okay, bidirectional, but it is a half duplex. Only one-way communication we have done that in this infrared array. Okay, in earlier days, this also can use for transmitting the data. There's a without wide technology. It is a wireless communications technologies are adapting to transmitting the data and receiving the data between the devices. Okay, next one more important communication interfaces, that is a Bluetooth. Okay, it is also a wireless technologies. In every phone, there is a Bluetooth technology will be there. Bluetooth are inbuilt Bluetooth is available in all the phones. Okay, the cost will be low, and then they consume low power, and then it can be used for the short ranges. Okay, the Bluetooth is a low cost, low power, short range, and wireless technology, and for the data and voice communication. And then it was proposed in 1994. The company is Ericsson, and Bluetooth operator will be 2.5 2.4 gigahertz of the radio frequency spectrum, and use the frequency hopping spreaded spectrum. There is a FHS, frequency hopping spread spectrum technique for communication. The maximum the range will be, the maximum rate will be 1 Mbps, and the range will be up to 30 feet of the data communication. Okay, it is not a long distance, it is a short distance. Okay, IR and this Bluetooth also will be a short distance communication, wireless communication technologies. Okay, then there is a two essential part is there in the Bluetooth. One is the protocol part, and another is the physical link. Okay, the physical link is responsible for the physical transmission of data between the device, supporting Bluetooth communication, and the protocol is responsible for defining the rules of the communications. And then physical links work on the wireless principle, making a RF wave for communication, and Bluetooth is enable the devices essential containing a Bluetooth wireless radio for the transmission and reception of data. And then the next important wireless communication is the nowadays in all every embedded system they are using the Wi-Fi technology to transmitting the data between the devices. Okay, these are popular technologies techniques for the network communication devices. And then this Wi-Fi follows there's a standard, is IEEE 802.11 standard. And then here also the Wi-Fi is intended for network communication, and it is support the internet IP based on communication. Okay, this Wi-Fi is supports the internet protocols. Okay, if you want to access anything, any website, means there is a IP address will be there. Okay, this IP address means the Wi-Fi will be supported this kind of IP protocols. Okay, it is essential to have devices identify in a multi-point communication to address the specific devices for data communication. The Wi-Fi. Suppose if you are, we can connect. Suppose the Wi-Fi, through the Wi-Fi we can connect the multiple devices in the particular specific address. Okay, suppose you can take an example. You are 14 students are there. Okay, if anyone this one, what is it? Turn on your hotspot, what happen? That's a Wi-Fi connections. Okay, and everyone they have access your network through a specific address. Okay, specific address means through that particular address only we can connect that particular point only, Wi-Fi points. Okay, that's why in an IP-based communication of each device is identified by an IP address, which is unique to each devices on the network. For every Wi-Fi network, there is a unique IP address. Through that IP address only, we can access the particular network. Okay, this is a wireless communication system. Wi-Fi means wireless communication, Wi-Fi fidelity. And then Wi-Fi based communication requires the intermediate agent called Wi-Fi. There's a router or wireless access point to manage the communications. And then the Wi-Fi router. Okay, you can see the router is there. Okay, we can see the figure Wi-Fi network. The Wi-Fi router was responsible for restricting the access to a network, assigning the IP address to device on the network, routing data pack to intend the device on the network. And the Wi-Fi is enable the device contains the you want to access this Wi-Fi means we should have a adapter. So this is a wireless adapter for transmitting and receiving the data in the form of radio signals through the antenna. And then this is a hardware part is known as a Wi-Fi radio. And the Wi-Fi operator will be 2.5 gigahertz to 5 gigahertz of radio spectrums. Okay, and they have coexist with other ISM band devices like Bluetooth. Okay, they can also coexist. It means coexist means exist with the previous Bluetooth devices also. Okay, this is a figure. This is a typical interfacing of the devices. There's a Wi-Fi router will be there. Through that one, we can connect the a number of devices. Okay, this is a host only. Okay, see there is having a see we can say observe in the figure. There is having some adapter will be there. Okay, if you want to connect that particular Wi-Fi network means through the adapter only you should connect the communicate that particular Wi-Fi for transmitting and receiving the data. Okay, from a radio signals through an antenna. See like that in our college also we have a Wi-Fi routers will be there for center, right wing, left wing. Okay, in office. Okay, you can access that one. That is your adapter. Okay, if you have an adapter means you should make the connection for the particular network, the radio, particular radio signals through this antenna. Okay, and then in continued Wi-Fi for communicating with the devices over a Wi-Fi network. The devices when its Wi-Fi radio is turned on. Okay, initially it is in off. If you want means that it should be the Wi-Fi. We should be turned on, and is searching the availability Wi-Fi network in near to your mobile. Okay, then it shows the network in its VinCity and list out the server set identifier of the available network. Okay, if you want to how to make the connection over Wi-Fi means it's very easy. Already you very well know about these Wi-Fi connections. Correct, now you should turn on your Wi-Fi and then search for the availability network in the particular region only. If the network is security is enabled, okay, in the network is security is enabled, the password may be required to connect the particular SSID. Okay, there is a server set identifier. They will identify the server set identifier. Suppose another phone issue that boy or girl has a kind of to turn on the hotspot means that is the exact Wi-Fi. Okay, if you want to access that particular Wi-Fi network means there is some identification number or password will be there to connect the SSID. Okay, it is a mandatory. Every mobile phone there is a Wi-Fi password will be there. If you want to access that other Wi-Fi means through this to enable that particular network means through the password may be required to connect the particular SSID. And then Wi-Fi employs the different security mechanism like varied occupancy, privacy, and wireless protected access, etc. These are security mechanisms. That things will be employed in the Wi-Fi because of they should not act your information during that one. See what happen if you go for this means how they are hacking your information means some of the fraud companies or some of the people's what they did means they will give the free Wi-Fi. Okay, once you access your Wi-Fi means once you access the particular network, immediately that fellow that company means that is the particular identified circuit. Okay, that fellow is hacking your information from through this wireless communication. That's why the Wi-Fi employs is a different security mechanism are adopted. Okay, that can be enabled or disabled based on your applications only. If you want to give a more security means you should give the proper password for a particular Wi-Fi. If not means you can disable the password. Everyone can easily access your network. Okay, see if you go for some other thing, some other areas you go, there is a free password means without any password is there, without any password protection is not there, you can easily access some other network. Okay, if you want like that you can access means what happen, There is one kind of threatening. Threatening is nothing but one kind of attack. It may be a passive or it may be a active attack will be done. Then they will lose your information in your devices. Okay, that's why be aware about these kind of Wi-Fi networks. Okay, ನಿಮಗೆ free Wi-Fi ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ connect ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬಿಟ್ರೆ it is very dangerous because all the information be stored in your mobile. Okay, personal photos or Wi-Fi, the passwords and your data. Okay, some of the important data, everything will be stolen through this kind of mechanisms. Okay, to avoid this kind of situation, that's why don't access the Wi-Fi in some other areas. Okay, and then there is the ranges will be there. The Wi-Fi support the data rate ranging from 1 megabytes to 1.73 gigabytes depending upon the standards. Okay, standard. Okay, see, we can see observe nowadays that there is a different type of networking system. They're giving the data rate transmissions. Okay, it may be 10 Mbps, it may be 20, 100 Mbps. See, the Wi-Fi data rates will be ranging from 1 megabytes to 1.73 gigabytes depending upon the standards. Okay, and depending upon the type of the antenna, okay, used indoor or outdoor, Wi-Fi will be the ranges will be 100 to 300 feet. Okay, suppose we can see in our home only, in our mobile phones there is a Wi-Fi adapter will be there. If you want to turn on your hotspot, means the maximum the range will be maximum will be 50 feet, not more than 50 also, less than 30 feet also. Okay, that's why some other based on the based on the antenna, the range will be offered. Okay, but the range will be of this Wi-Fi range will be vary from 100 to 300 feet. Okay, clear? Any doubt regarding this? Yes or no? See, these are the normal things. In daily we are using this kind of communications system for transmitting using the data. And one more important communications, wireless communication devices is the Zigbee. Okay, Zigbee in our mobile phone is not there. Okay, see, Zigbee also will be a lower forecast wireless network communication protocol that also based on the IEEE 802.15.4/2006 standard. Okay, and then Zigbee is targeted for low power, low data rate, and secure application for wireless personal area and networking. And then this Zigbee specification support a robot mesh network containing a multiple nodes. And this network strategy make the network reliably by permitting the message to travel through the number of different paths to get from one node to another. And then the Zigbee operate worldwide at the unlicensed band of radio spectrum, mainly at 2.4 to 2.484 gigahertz, 902 to 928 megahertz, and 868.0 to 868.6 megahertz. See, and then ranges will be 100 meters, and data rate will be at 20 to 250 kilobytes. Okay, nowadays your senior they're doing some project now. The embedded system, this maximum 90% or 100% will be all the projects will be a embedded project only. In the embedded project, what they did, they are using this Zigbee system, wireless communication system are used for taking the information from the sensor. Otherwise, the data will be uploaded to some other devices through this Zigbee can used. Okay. In the Zigbee terminology, each Zigbee devices falls under any one of the following Zigbee device categories. Okay, there's a Zigbee coordinator, a Zigbee router, and Zigbee end devices. Okay, there's a network coordinators. For Zigbee coordinator is nothing but network coordinator. Zigbee router is nothing but full function devices. Zigbee end devices means reduced function devices. Okay, each Zigbee will be following this under these three categories. Zigbee coordinator that will be represented by ZC. It acts as a root of the Zigbee network. Okay, it is like the root on the Zigbee network. We can see observe in this figure also. Okay, this root of the this one coordinators, and then Zigbee routers. The Zigbee routers responsible for passing the information from device to another device or another to Zigbee routers. Okay, that is called as a ZigBee routers, and then next is ZigBee end devices is there. ZigBee end devices. ZigBee end devices containing the ZigBee functionality for data communication. Okay, because end devices means some sensor actuators. Okay, that is the end devices. It containing this kind of form of ZigBee. It cannot take only when ZR or ZC, and does not have a capability to act as a mediator for transmitting the data from one device to another. Okay, then we can see this figure ZigBee router. This is a overview about your ZC coordinator router and then end devices. Initially, I told you people the ZC is the coordinator. Okay, it is a coordinator. It's nothing but it is a route. It acts as the route of the ZigBee network. And then ZR also will be there. ZR is the it is the responsible for passing between the information between the devices, and then ZR also. Okay, and then end devices. The end devices is the containing this kind of functionalities for data communication. See, this is the ZigBee network model. You can see the figure. And the ZigBee is primarily targeting application area like home and industrial automation, energy management, home control, security, medical, patient tracking, logistic, and asset tracking, and sensor network, and active RFID. Okay, these are the applications. Okay, primarily are you targeting focusing on these areas. Okay, like home securities. See, in the home securities, what are the things will be there? Security of your home, or a door lock system, firing alarm. Okay, these are the things now. How they communicated between from that sensor to the fire sensor to your master means to the ZigBee only. Otherwise, energy management, some automations, home control, they are using this ZigBee communication system. And then automatic meter reading, smoke detector, wireless telemeter, HVAC control, heating control, lighting controls, environmental control. These are the application which can be use of ZigBee technologies for light control. Everything will be they're using the ZigBee there, so that model will be available. Okay, the ZigBee model will be available, and it is because why they are using this kind of ZigBee communication in the embedded system means because of this very low power, and it consumes very low power, and also will be low cost compared to the other devices, and also they give some the range also will be goes and increases compared to the previous nothing but IR or Wi-Fi, or you go for your Bluetooth, the range will be very high into 100 meters. Okay, that's why they're using this kind of ZigBee in all the industrial sectors. It may be a medical sector, it may be a home controlling mechanism, it may be environmental controlling. Okay, these are the applications which make an use of the ZigBee technologies. The specification of ZigBee is developed by and managed by the ZigBee Alliance, a non-profit consortium of leading semiconductor manufacturer technology, provides OEMs and end user worldwide. Okay, everything will be okay. This specification of ZigBee will be developed and managed by the ZigBee Alliance. Okay. Then one more important wireless communication technology they are using here. General packet, this is GPRS. Okay, general packet radio services. Okay, it's a communication technique for transmitting data over a mobile communication network like GSM. Okay, and data is sent to a packet. There's a GPRS communication. The transmitting a devices split the data into several related packets. At the receiving end, the data is reconstructed by combining the received data packets. And the maximum transfer data for GPRS is a 171.2 kilobytes. And then GPRS communication is the radio channel is concurrently shared between the several users instead of dedicating a radio channel to the cell phone users. Okay, GPRS. Okay, this is also one type of the communication for receiving and transmitting the data. Okay, here in this data will be transmitted in terms of the packets only. That's why transmitting the devices split the data into several related packets. And then GPRS communication divided the channel into 8 time slots and transmit data over the available channels. Okay, and then GPRS supports the IP point-to-point protocol and expand to protocol for communication. Means GPRS also will be supported for the internet protocol, other point-to-point protocols. This can be used by mobile, enable or embedded devices for data communications. In every mobile, there's a GPS technology are there. Okay, it can be used for enabling the embedded services or devices for data communication. And then this device should support the necessary GPRS hardware like GPRS modem and GPRS radios. And this accomplish GPR based communication, the carrier network also should have a support the GPR communication. And GPRS is an old technology and it is be replaced new generation data communication technique like EDGE. This is the EDGE technology. Otherwise, high-speed downlink and uplink pocket access, and also long-term evolutions. Okay, because they are offering a higher bandwidth for telecommunication. Higher bandwidth means, see, how the data will be transmitted in terms of the pocket, with respect to the time, or in terms of the pocket with respect to the bandwidth. Okay, clear? Any doubt regarding this? Okay, these are the general information about the wireless communication technology like GPRS, Zigbee, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, infrared array. Okay, these are the wireless communications. Okay, these kind of devices are used in the embedded system to make the connection between them. Means they should take some information from the sensor. Correct, no? Okay, how the see in the sensor side also there's a transmitter and receivers are will be there. Either it may be Zigbee or it may be Bluetooth. Okay, based on the distance, they will selecting the receivers and transmitter and receivers. Okay, from the sensor, what the amount of sensor will be send the signal that will be transmitted over the Zigbee. In the master unit also there is a Zigbee or wireless communication device are there. They will receive the information and then they will do the next stage work. Okay, like that. Okay, they will communicate because now embedded system is not wired system, it is a wireless system. Okay, okay, we are sitting in home, we can monitoring the environmental parameters. Okay, it means that we are deploying the some of the sensor in the particular area. Okay, each sensor I'm sending the signal and transmitting through this wireless communications. Okay, then same thing in the central network. There is a main station. They are receiving the all the sensor data, and it will be processing, and it will go for the next action. Okay, clear about this one? Any doubt regarding this? Any doubt? Say yes or no? ಹೇಳ್ರಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಇಲ್ವಾ? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, these are the general communication devices are used. Okay, commonly devices are used in the embedded system. Okay, next year anyway. The next year, can you go for the project? Okay, then we'll know about the what do you mean by GPRS, what do you mean by Wi-Fi, why are you using Zigbee, and some of the now what happened, there's a lower long range communications. Okay, here Zigbee will be maximum will be 100 meters. There's a 100 meters will be there, but in lower long range communication devices they can maximize the range up to 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers. Okay, the next is the firmware embedded software. Okay, next is the embedded firmware. There is a software. Firmware is nothing but a software. Okay, what kind of software are used to make the to developing the control programs? Okay, see in the embedded firmware, it is a software. It is nothing but is a firmware. It refers to control algorithm. Okay, see if you have to do something on project means first what we do means we should write the block diagram. After the block diagram, we should write the flow chart. Okay, based on the flow chart, we can write the program. Okay, the program is nothing but your control program. Okay, actually the embedded firmware. There is a software interface to control algorithm. There's a program instructions, and or the configuration setting that an embedded system developers dumps into the code memory of the embedded system. What you write in the program, that will be dumped to the embedded. There's a processor memory to start work, to do the specific task. Okay, see, like that, the embedded system. Okay, the embedded system is a combination of hardware and software, and also electromechanical components to do the specific work. There is a general definition of the embedded system. Alva? Now, initially in first class only, I'll tell the what is the general definition of this embedded system is the combination of these three categories. One is the software, hardware, and then mechanical component. Well, all three will be combined. They will do the specific task. Okay, here the primer is that is your software. Okay, it is nothing but there's a control program. Okay, control program that will be dumped to the into the memory. There's a program to the memory of the embedded system. Okay, it is an unavoidable part of embedded system. You can't avoid this one. Is an unavoidable part of the embedded system. Without program control, we can't do anything else. Okay, that is your main part of this embedded system. There are various methods available for developing the embedded framework. Write a program in the high-level language like embedded C, C++, using an integrated development environment. This is a IDE. Okay, how to write this program is using the embedded Java embedded program C and C++ programming knowledge. There's a language are used to write this control program. Using an integrated development of environment. There's a IDE. See, IDE will be contain editing the program, compiling the and linking, debugger, simulating. Everything will be done by this IDE. Okay, that's why if you want to write a program, high level language program, that is C++, that should be integrated. That will be developed by the integrated development environment. Okay, we can test that one. Okay, we should write something means we should test with a suitable platform. Okay, that's why it is integrated. It is using how to this the programming thing work will be program will working or not as per your desired objectives or not. We'll check it. Okay, that's why the IDE, there's a integrated development environment. It contains it is a platform for editing the program, compiling the program, linking to some other peripheral, debugging, simulating result. Okay, and then these IDEs are different for different family of processor and controller. This platform is there now. That is way different for different processor and controllers. Okay, for example, there's a open software, open source software is there. Kill micro version. Okay, microvision or microvision kill software. You can call it generally kill software. That is a for IDE is used for the family for 8051 microcontrollers. Since it contains the genetic of 8051 compiler C51. Okay, now we have this time we have a embedded system lab is there now. Which compiler, which software are used? Dear students, which software are using? Hello. Hello, you have an embedded system laboratory now. Which software are used?
Yes.
Huh? ಯಾವ್ದಪ್ಪ ಯಾವ್ದು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್
KELL
ಅದೇ ಕಿಲ್ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಓಪನ್ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅವೈಲಬಲ್ ಓಕೆ and then write the program in assembly. Okay, that is the assembly okay we are in the embedded system ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ program ಯಾವ language ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ C or embedded system based assembly level language program ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಯಾವ ತರ program ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಯಾವ language ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಹಲೋ ಯಾವ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಬರೆಯೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಎಂಬೆಡೆಡ್ ಲ್ಯಾಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ALP ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ sometimes C++ embedded basis plus program are using to build the control algorithms. Okay, there is a kill software. Okay, still microvision software is a open source platform Using that one, we can easily simulating the programs. Okay, and then write a program in assembly language using the instructions supported by your application target processor and controllers. Okay, if you are using this ARM controller, means your set of instructions, there's a thumb to instruction or traditional 16-bit instruction are there. Okay, using that instruction, we can write the program. Okay, that program will be compiled with or debugged with your kill software. Okay, and then the program written in high level language or assembly. Okay, high level language is then C++ or embedded C++ or assembly language. There's a LP program. Code should be converted into a processor. There's a understandable machine code before loading into the program memory. The process of converting the program written in either a high logic level or a processor control specific assembly code to machine readable binary code is called as a EXA file creations. Okay, what we are discussing in the first module or second module. Okay, everything, all the instruction will be in the form of X file creation only. Okay, there is a binary code. Okay, X file. Okay, that's why everything should be denoted by H only. Okay, all the data, everything will be denoted by the H file. That is called as a X file creation. The method used to X file creation is different depending on the programming technique used. Okay, in the programming written in embedded C++ using IDE, the cross compiler included in the IDE converts into corresponding processor and controller understandable X file. The assembly language. Okay, there is an assembly language based program technique are used. The utilized supplied by the processor and control vendor can be supported, can be used to convert the source into code into XFL. Okay, everything should be written by the XFL creation only. Okay, that should be, this XFL creation should be supported for your processor or controllers only. And also there is a third party tools are available. It may be free of cost for the conversion. Third party is nothing but like example open source softwares are available now. And also we have some of the software, the free softwares are available, the coding softwares are available. There is a third party tools. Okay, they will those kind of tools are of course they perform some specific application. That is that particular control algorithm, algorithm or control algorithm is same as your default algorithms. We can use that one. There is a free of cost for this conversion. Also, some of the open softwares are available. Using that one, you can debug your or run your code. And then for a beginner in the embedded system software field, it is strongly recommended to the high level language based development techniques. Write a course in high level language is easy. The code written in high level language is highly portable. The some code can be used to run a different processor or controller with little or less modification. The only thing you need to be do is recompile program with the required processor IDE after replacing the include files for that particular processor. The programs written in high level language are not developer dependent. Any skilled program can trace out the functionalities of the program, just having a look at the programs. Okay, see, based on your application, you can write the program. Okay, okay, these are the what are the program are used in the embedded system. This is not a fixed program, it will be varied. Okay, based on your specific task only you should write the control programs. Okay, that's why there is some nowadays what happened for writing this middle program, there is a number of softwares are available. Okay, you can go that one, you can join that kind of softwares, you can learn the coding. Okay, and write the control program for your specific application, and it will be much easier if the source code contains the necessary commands and documents lines. It is very easy to debug, and overall system development time will be reduced to greater extent. Debugging will be very easy, and then the overall development of this particular program also will be reduced. The development time also will be reduced if you go for the high level language based programs. Okay, see, in high level language programming, it reduces the number of instructions. Okay, within 1 or 2 instruction we can get the output also. And then the embedded software development processor is assembly language in tedious and time consuming. If you go for the assembly language, see, for everything, for moving the data or sending the data or storing the data or some processing the data means it requires some more of instructions. Okay, that's why for executing these instructions it takes some time, but not in high level language program. Within one line we can things, the processing will be done. Okay, and then that's why if you go for this assembly language, it takes some time consuming. It takes some time to process the debugging or run this program, and also take more instructions. That's why we conclude that it takes some time consuming. And then the developer need to know about all the instruction set of the processor and controller, or at least he should, or he or she could carry the instruction set reference manual with him. It means through this assembly language program, we can make any control program means that person, whoever the developer is, that person, we know well known about the instruction sets of the particular process or controllers. Otherwise, they should carry with the manual. There's a instruction sets.
PPT display ಮಾಡಿ.
Sir, display ಇದೆ sir.
ಯಾವ ಮಾಡ್ಯೂಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
Sir, third module sir.
ಥರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಯೂಲ್ CO3 ಬರುತ್ತಾ?
Sir, CO2 ಬರುತ್ತೆ sir.
CO2 ಬರುತ್ತಾ? ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಯಾವ್ದು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಬ್ಲೂಮ್ಸ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಾನಮಿನಲ್ಲಿ?
ಸರ್ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್.
ಯಾವ್ದು ಕೇಟುನಾ?
ಕೇಟು ಸರ್.
ಮನೆ ಹತ್ರ ಬಂದಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲೋಗಿದ್ರಿ, ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ?
ಸರ್ ಪಾಪ ಹುಷಾರಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಗೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಸರ್.
ಸರಿ ಆಯ್ತು, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಸರ್ ಓಕೆ ಸರ್. See here, means they should carry the instruction bit before the developer. They should know all the instruction sets. Suppose you go for the R microprocessor, or you can go for the any other microprocessor, 8051 or Atmel or PIC or some Arduino processor. If you want to develop any program, assembly language program, they know the in and out of instruction sets. Otherwise, they should carry the reference manual with him. And then a programmer using assembly language techniques writes the program according to the is viewer's taste. Okay, how to write means based on your specific task only you can write the program. Okay, dear student, the presentation is visible. Dear students, presentation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Often he may be writing a method functionalities, writing a methods or functionalities which can be achieved through a single instruction as an experienced person point of view by 2 or 3 instruction in his own style. Okay, see, we can't follow that same procedure. Okay, if you have a intelligent, we can reduce the number of instruction sets by its own style only. Okay, suppose you can take and add 2 number means normal person what they did means the 2 data will be taken from the it will be added to the particular register. Again it will be moved to the accumulator and add with the data with the accumulator, then that data will be stored in some other register. Otherwise, instead of using that kind of means, if you do that process means they require more time consuming and more instruction sets are using. That's why some other person they are using directly add instruction of a with the accumulator already they will store some data with immediate data. Okay, that's why we can write the control programs based on their own point of view. Okay, so that the program will be highly dependent on the developer. Okay, the program will be highly dependent on the developer. Okay, developer who is only the developing the programs. Okay, that's why it will the program will totally depend upon the developers. It is very difficult for a second person. It is very difficult for second person to understand the code written in the assembly, even if it is well documented. Okay, it is very difficult to second person to understand the code written in the assembly, even it is well documented, because they will that person should be written in different form of. Okay, they will different form. That's why it is very difficult. If you are documented well documented the particular program also, it is very difficult to understand that for that person or second person. And 2 types of control algorithm. designs exists in the embedded software development. This is two control algorithm exists in the embedded framework development. The first type of control algorithm developed is known as a infinite loop or super loop based off approach, where the control flow runs from a top to bottom and then jumps to back to top of the program conventional procedures. Okay, the second method deals with the splitting the function to be executed into the task and running this task using the scheduler, which is part of the general purpose or real-time embedded operating systems. Okay, two types of this embedded software can be developed by using these two methods. First step will be the infinite loop method or super loop methods. Our second one is the method is splitting functionalities. Okay, see, in every embedded system, there is a control algorithms are there. Okay, if you want to implement any project means, okay, the project means that did some that something they do some work. Okay, to that work we need some control algorithms ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಒಂದ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಬೇಕು, ಒಂದ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಲೇಬೇಕಲ್ವಾ. ಆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು, ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. Okay, that command is nothing but is a control algorithm. Okay, clear about this one? Any doubt regarding this? Clear? Any doubt regarding this? Say sir. Hello. Hello. Are you there? Dinesh, Rameshri, Deepshi, are you? Okay, today we'll stop here.
Sir.
Get to the next class. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.